Alright, patch notes have arrived. Now, most of what's in the patch notes is normally covered through the Unveil and the Balance manifesto. And for me, I can just like Control F, caustic, and there's nothing here, and it's like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. But I'm gonna go ahead and read through this. I don't know that I necessarily need it, but I'm doing it for you. Yes, you. So smash that like button and let's patch some notes. Table of contents. We got a book to read. Alright, the Ultimatum Challenge League. Challenge Leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start in a new economy. All of your old characters and items are still present in the standard and hardcore leagues, but you are encouraged to join the new leagues, complete challenges, and demonstrate your mastery of Path of Exile. In the Ultimatum Challenge League, you'll test your skills in the Trials of Chaos. In every area, you'll encounter the Trial Master, who will present you with a reward, objective, and choice of 3 modifiers that add extra challenge to the encounter. If you're successful, you must then choose between accepting the reward you've earned or attempting additional trials with increased difficulty in hopes of earning additional rewards. Choose wisely, because if you fail, you'll lose all the rewards you've earned so far. Each encounter with the Trial Master provides a series of trials with increasing difficulty. In maps, you'll occasionally find inscribed ultimatums, which can be placed in the map device to transport you to the Trial Master's domain. Each inscribed ultimatum specifies an offering that you must bring with you, a reward you can earn, and an assortment of ultimatum difficulty modifiers. If you're able to complete the trial, you'll earn the specified reward. However, if you fail, you'll forfeit the offering you brought with you. With 3.14, there are standard, hardcore, and solo self-found variations of the Ultimatum Challenge League available. They have the same core mechanics and items. You can create private league versions of these leagues with mods that make the game harder. The new challenge leagues include a set of 40 new challenges. When you complete 12 challenges, you will receive the Ultimatum Helmet. When you reach 24 challenges, you will receive the Ultimatum Pet. At 36 challenges completed, you'll receive the Ultimatum Portal Effect. These microtransactions are only obtainable in this league. From the 19th challenge onward, and for every 3rd challenge after that, you'll receive pieces of the Ultimatum Totem Pole decoration to display in your hideout. The totem pole permanently showcases how many of the Ultimatum challenges you completed during the league. Major new content and features. Added a new Strength Intelligence skill gem, Reap. A bloody scythe swipes across a selected area, applying a physical damage over time debuff in addition to hitting enemies with physical damage. If enemies survive, you gain a blood charge, which raises both the damage and cost of the skill. Added a new Strength Intelligence skill gem, Exsanguinate. Release several tendrils of blood, targeting enemies in a narrow angle in front of you. The beams deal physical damage and inflict a physical damage over time debuff to enemies, which can stack up to 3 times. Effects which allow skills to chain can be applied to these tendrils. Added a new Strength skill gem, Petrified Blood. Apply a buff that protects the lower half of your life, preventing some of the immediate life loss when damaged by hits and applying the loss over time instead. Your life cannot be raised above low life other than by flasks, and while above low life, skills will cost life as well as mana. Added a new Strength Intelligence gem, Corrupting Fever. Draw out your own blood to power a buff for a duration, letting this skill inflict the Corrupting Blood debuff on enemies you hit, dealing physical damage over time for a short secondary duration. The buff's duration will be refreshed if you spend enough life before it expires. Added a new strength support gem, Bloodthirst. Supports attack skills, causing them to deal added physical damage with weapons equal to 2% of your maximum life while on low life. Added a new strength intelligence support gem, Cruelty. Supports skills that hit enemies, causing them to deal more damage with hits. You also gain a cruelty buff, which makes all supported skills deal up to 50% more damage over time, based on the amount of damage of the initial hit. Blood magic support has been removed. 2 new support gems have been added in its place. Added a new strength support gem, Arrogance. Supports any skill with a reservation. Skills reserve life instead of mana and have increased aura effect. The reservation multiplier decreases as the gem level increases. Any existing blood magic support gems will be converted to the Arrogance support gems. Added a new strength support gem, Life Tap. Supports any skill. Skills cost life instead of mana. If you've spent a certain amount of life, you will gain a Life Tap buff, which causes supported skills to deal more damage. Added 13 new unique items. Added 14 new divination cards designed by our supporters. Added ritual to the core game, rebalanced around the lower rate of encountering ritual gameplay. Please read the Ritual Changes section for more valuable information. Introduce the Vaal Reliquary Key, which can be found as an extremely rare drop throughout the game. When consumed in the map device, it grants you access to an ancient vault with a chest that drops a special foil version of a Vaal-themed unique item. Uniques dropped in this way have equal weighting. This is the rarest reliquary key yet. Introduce the Veiled Chaos Orb, a currency item that reforges rare items in a similar way to a regular Chaos Orb, but guarantees the result will have a random Veiled modifier. This item can be obtained from betrayal encounters or found as a rare drop throughout the game. Added 6 new vendor recipes. Added 5 new equipment base types available in the Atlas. Minor new content and features. Added various new league rewards such as catalysts, incubators, and scarabs. Please read the other league changes section for more information. Added 5 new sextant modifiers which will cause maps in the associated Atlas region to contain Blight, Delirium, Harvest, Heist, or Ritual encounters. Continued to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Atlas and map changes. Conquerors of the Atlas encounters can now be accessed through a map item. When you have a Conqueror's Citadel ready to go, speaking to Zana will open the map device interface with a map containing the Conqueror's Citadel already placed in the first slot. Currency can be applied to these maps the same way as a regular map, and adding fragments or scarabs alongside the map will enhance the map further. Item quantity will only increase the amount of rewards dropped by the Conqueror by 20% of its total value. This is cool. So now we're not running white maps when we do Conquerors, we have the ability to roll said maps. The Maven will now only witness encounters in the Uncharted Realms Atlas region for the player that created the encounter. Okay. Awakening bonus objectives no longer provide additional chance to receive an Atlas mission when completing a map. Reduce the chance for map areas to contain Abyss, Ambush, Blight, Breach, Domination, Essence, Heist, Legion, Metamorph, and Torment encounters by 20%. The chance to encounter a Zana mission containing any of these mechanics has also been lowered by the same amount. So I guess this is supposed to further give weight to the Atlas passives. So they're more required to get what you're trying to get out of the zones rather than having them so commonly available wherever you're at. Reduce the chance for map areas to contain a delirium mirror by approximately 20%. The chance to encounter a Zana mission containing a delirium encounter has also been lowered by the same amount. I don't know why that was just included up there. Anyways, Zana is now half as likely to offer a unique synthesis map when offering missions. I don't know that I like that. Like, synthesis maps are so cool, but they're so rare. Alright, onward. Ritual changes. Ritual altars can now be found once you reach maps. Each map has an 8% base chance to contain ritual altars. Deferred items will reappear at later areas at a higher rate to account for these changes. Okay. Ritual splinters will no longer be offered as rewards from ritual encounters in maps that have been opened with a blood-filled vessel. Okay. Added 4 Ritual Atlas passive nodes to the Haywork Hamlet Atlas region, which grant various bonuses to ritual encounters. Please read the Atlas passive balance section for more information. Added 3 Ritual Watchstone modifiers, which grant various bonuses to ritual encounters. Okay. Harvest changes. Unfortunately, the version of Harvest that was active during the Ritual League was far too rewarding. Various adjustments have been made to harvest crafting, and the chance to encounter a portal to the Sacred Grove has been increased. We have published a development manifesto that goes into more detail about the changes and the reasoning behind them. Increase the chance for map areas to contain the Sacred Grove by 60%. The chance to encounter a Zana mission requiring you to complete a harvest encounter has also been increased by the same amount. The Sacred Grove now contains a minimum of 3 pairs of plots that can be harvested from. The Heart of the Grove encounter will no longer appear in place of a normal harvest encounter. Instead, it can now be accessed through a Sacred Blossom map fragment that sometimes drops from T4 harvest bosses. I really like this change. I really, really like it. So now if you want to farm the Heart of the Grove, you can purchase these fragments and do so. And I imagine they'll probably be pretty cheap. But I think there's a helmet that can roll like random support gems or something on it. And yeah. Give access to people who are looking for those. Completing the Heart of Grove encounter for the first time now unlocks 5 extra Hoarder Crafting Station crafting slots, allowing you to store up to a maximum of 15 crafting options. Yes! Yes! That's big. Crafts are no longer guaranteed from seeds. Now, seeds of tiers 1, 2, and 3 each have a chance to provide a craft, with tier 4 seeds still guaranteeing a craft. Please note that the number of tier 2 and 3 seeds encounters in harvest plots has remained unchanged, so the encounters will remain as challenging as they were before. Some crafts that had overly deterministic behavior have been removed. These include most annulment type crafts, crafts that removed a modifier of a specific type, and all type specific divine crafts. Crafts that rerolled the value of specific modifiers. I don't feel like this is a huge loss, but yeah, the annuls were really nice. I think you still get the remove add. And it does say most, not all. Type-specific exalted crafts, crafts that augmented modifiers of specific types to items, can now only be applied to non-influenced items. This does not apply to the existing modifier, which applies an influenced modifier to an already influenced item. So no like guaranteeing explodey chests anymore with this. Crafts that added random Atlas influences to certain types of non-influenced items have been removed. In their place, crafts that randomize the existing influence on an item while also reforging it with new modifiers have been added. Okay, that's not terrible. You have to find a item that is influenced of the certain base type, and then you can reroll it with different influence if you want it to have different influence. So that's not too bad. Rebalance the weightings of seeds so that you're seeing type-specific crafts at a more equal rate. For example, cold, fire, and lightning. The weightings of crafts have also been rebalanced so that more powerful crafts, such as the exalted types, are now rarer. Weaker crafts, such as set an item to 3 sockets, have also been removed, making the higher tier version of these crafts more common. Okay, well, I like this change because lightning was so common and fire and cold were not as much. It doesn't say anything about chaos crafts there, but we'll see. Other league changes. General changes. We have rebalanced league-specific rewards that were providing far more readily. Wait, what? We have rebalanced league-specific rewards that were provided far more okay, so that is worded correctly. I'm dumb. Rewards that were provided far more readily than other content compared to the original league content. Some rewards will now be exclusive to their respective league or much rarer from other types of content. For example, Stygian Vises are now almost exclusively available as rewards from Abyssal Depths encounters, and Delirium Orbs are now exclusive to Delirium encounters. Oh. No more trinket rewards, dropping you a stack of Delirium Orbs, I guess. Darn. That was easy money. Abyss changes. You can now find Abyss Scarabs from various sources. Each Scarab guarantees an Abyss encounter in an area, with higher tier Scarabs containing additional Abyss encounters, an additional Abyssal item or Abyssal Jewel from Abyssal Troves, or increased chance for an Abyss in an area to lead to an Abyssal Depths encounter. Rare Abyss Jewels that drop from Abyssal Troves now use the well-rolled modifier system. Okay. Added several new Abyss Jewel modifiers. Various existing Abyss Jewel modifiers have also been updated. Please read the Abyss Jewel Balance section for more information. Okay. Blight changes. Blighted maps can now be corrupted with outcomes similar to regular maps. Chests in these maps have a chance to drop tainted oils, which can be used to anoint corrupted items. So maybe, I guess tainted oils can only come from corrupted maps. Interesting. Blighted maps now apply the map's item quantity modifier to the blight chest count at 20% of the total value. Okay, gives more benefit to running non-white blighted maps. Various oil modifiers that affect maps have been updated. Please read the oil changes section for more information. You can now find blight scarabs from various sources. Each scarab guarantees a blight encounter in an area, with higher tier scarabs guaranteeing an additional blight boss, a 50% chance for blight chests to contain an additional reward, or blight lanes to contain an additional reward chest. Okay. Betrayal changes. Modifiers that are unveiled through June are now more powerful than before. Previously, when an item was unveiled, the veiled modifier added to the item would be equal to the highest tier modifier available on the crafting bench. Now, the modifier being unveiled no longer counts as a crafted modifier and will be stronger than any crafted veiled modifier. Now, the modifier being unveiled no longer counts as a crafted modifier. So can you unveil a mod and then leave it on and craft something on it? That's the way it sounds. I don't know. It will be stronger than any craftable veiled mods. So the veiled mods that you're getting from that you can use from your crafting bench, you can get a higher tier, I guess, from veiling or unveiling the mod. So if Aisling, or I guess I should finish reading the betrayal changes because it might tell us that. You will still obtain progress towards unlocking the craftable versions of these veiled modifiers. However, progress towards unlocking craftable versions of these modifiers is now slightly faster, and many crafts have had their worst tier removed. Okay. The weighting of veiled modifiers has been rebalanced in a way that makes modifiers exclusive to one or two types of equipment more common, while modifiers that can appear in a wider range of equipment types are rarer. That means it might be harder to get Chaos.multi because that could literally spawn on any weapon with a veiled prefix. We've improved the betrayal reward system so that slaying the mastermind is more worthwhile. Now, if the mastermind is slain, her Immortal Syndicate members drop their rewards at one tier higher than their current tier. This change introduces a fourth tier of reward from each member, and gives more reason to use a larger variety of Syndicate targets and Safe House leaders. Some of the best existing rewards have been moved to the fourth tier. We've also improved some of the less interesting or less valuable rewards. We'll have to see what these fourth tier are, but I still think the locking two pairs of Syndicate leaders into intervention and research, and every other one in fortification and transportation, and just spawning the two and quickly farming those, that's probably still going to be the play. But there definitely seems to be more reward here. Safe House leaders no longer lose ranks when they're interrogated for mastermind intelligence. Interesting. That's kind of cool. Betrayal targets are now more likely to drop veiled items with their signature modifiers. That's good. So Elyon rings, more common. That's what this says. Polished and gilded scarabs can now be obtained as a rare drop when bargaining during a betrayal encounter. Cool. More scarabs is always a good thing. Scarabs can no longer be obtained from bargaining in areas under level 68. Various craftable veiled modifiers have been rebalanced. Please read the crafted veil modifier balance section for more information. Ooh, that's scary. That's scary. I hope they don't lower the dodge on the chest. That's and hopefully they completely eliminate fortify 100% increased fortify effect while focused, because that is broken. That's my thoughts. We'll get there. Bestiary changes. Added 10 new beast crafting recipes. Cool. Splitting an item through beast crafting now implies a split modifier to both items, preventing further splitting. Okay, so this means that you cannot have a 6-link chest with all white sockets on it and just make infinite copies of it. You can only split it once, and that's it. So this alone will make fusings more valuable this league. Party members that are not the map creator are now required to be within a 250 unit radius, roughly 2 screens, of a captured beast in order for it to be added to their menagerie. Okay. So this is a nerf to multi-boxing for farming beasts. So you actually have to active and be playing the map, because there's lots of people that would run 6 clients and then just fill the map and just harvest the beasts 6 times as fast. Breach changes. Blessings of Esh, Tol, Zoth, Olnitol, and Cheula can now be used to upgrade an associated Breachstone to a higher tier version. I love this change. Absolutely love this change. It's very cool. Delirium changes. Added and rebalanced various cluster jewel notables. Please read the cluster jewel balance section for more information. The quantity and rarity bonus applied to monsters from delirium counters has been lowered and is now more consistent across monster rarities. Previously, monsters of normal rarity had a disproportionately larger amount of quantity and rarity being applied to them compared to monsters in higher rarities. So this isn't a bad change, I don't think, because you get a Delirium Mirror and your map would drop 5 times more stuff just from having Delirium Mirror. It's still going to drop more stuff because there's Delirium stuff in there. But it's just kind of balancing that out, because it probably was overpowered. Delve changes. Delve has been rebalanced in a way that makes better rewards appear earlier and more frequently at shallow depths. Very deep depths no longer provide such an exponential increase to the rate of encountering high-tier rewards. Fractured fossils now apply a split modifier to both items, preventing further duplication. As a result, fractured fossils can no longer be applied to items that cannot be split, such as synthesized, enchanted, fractured, or influenced items. Enchanted? Cluster jewels are enchanted. But like a helm enchant? You can't split a helm enchant? I don't know that I like that as much. I don't think that mattered too badly. Anyways, this will be really cool. Most players in the game have never deep delved to the point where you can get some of the high tier fossils, like fractured fossils, and there are unique boss encounters. It seems like for each of the like deep fossils. So I would like to see those up higher, where delve is a little bit more accessible. So that should be cool. Essence changes. Various essence outcomes have been rebalanced. Please read the Essence Balance section for more information. Okay. Heist changes. The amount of experience required to level up a heist rogue has been reduced by 20% per level. Okay, so anybody who does a lot of heists, this is completely irrelevant because it really was not hard to level up your members when they implemented it after Heist League. Ritual League, I feel like I leveled them up so quickly. But I'm not going to complain. That's a buff. Incursion changes. Alva can now convert your completed and ready-to-run Temple of Vatsuatl into a tradable object that can be consumed in the map device. You will need access to the map device to use this convert function. So this is cool. So now you can sell double corrupt rooms without a player having to trade you their item, and they'll have an actual value to them. That's tradable, which is pretty big. We have made a lot of changes to the Temple of Vatsuatl. As you may know, specific rooms of the Temple of Vatsuatl can drop unique incursion items that can later be upgraded. Many of these unique items have been improved. Please read the Incursion Uniques Changes section for more information. That sounds big, because a lot of those uniques are really cool. Previously, the Temple's boss, the Omnitech, dropped random rare items with special incursion modifiers on them. Now, it also drops rare items with incursion modifiers based around the themes of the rooms your temple contains, and has a higher chance to drop vials related to that room. Having high tier rooms also causes more rare items to drop. Cool. Making the boss something that's not like an afterthought. Specific rooms now add specific monster packs to the temple, and temple modifiers have been improved, which results in more monster density, challenge, and reward. Temple modifiers have been improved so that if your temple has more higher tier rooms, then it is comparable to a good map. We have also performed modernization pass on room rewards so that they're competitive with newer leagues. Sounds really cool. Incursion might be really, really nice. The explosives room now contains some basic chests that can be opened with flash powder kegs if you don't need them for opening a path elsewhere in the temple. The Shrine of Empowerment room in the Temple of Vatsuatl now randomly empowers one connected room that is tier 2 or below and upgrades it by one tier. The Sanctum of Unity room now randomly empowers two connected rooms that are tier 2 or below and upgrades them by one tier each. See, I kind of wish this would work the same way that they're doing for the Mastermind, and I think it'd be really cool if there was a tier 4 room that could only be accessible from the Sanctum of Unity. But now, like, what's actually this is reading like is that they nerfed it. So, and the rooms still have to be connected to it. It's not every nearby room. The Table of Sacrifice in the Hall of Offerings room now allows you to sacrifice a unique item for another random unique of the same item class. The Monsters Killed progress bar in Temporal Incursions has been updated slightly to make it easier to see if you have killed all of the monsters in the incursion. Right on. That sounds good. Legion changes. Added 3 new incubators related to Blight, Delirium, and Metamorph. Abyssal incubators can now drop Abyss Scarabs. Cartographer's incubators can now drop Shaper and Elder influenced maps, as well as maps with Delirium orbs applied to them. Decadent incubators can no longer drop Brandis League exclusive unique items and now drop Scarabs more often. Ooh. Enchanted incubators now drop items with an enchantment from the Eternal Labyrinth. That's cool. That's a buff. I guess they really are trying to push like Brandis content as still being a thing, so putting the League exclusives in Brandis chests, I get it. Fragmented incubators can now drop Offerings of the Goddess and can no longer drop Palcourt key fragments. No! No! This is the only place you could get these outside of Prophecy. I loved it. I loved that. Oh, that sucks. Foreboding incubators can now drop Harbinger Scarabs. Ancient orbs can now be dropped from Foreboding incubators of level 68 or higher. Okay. The item drop pool for the Mysterious Incubator has been updated to include all of the new rewards. Right on. Added an Accelerating Catalyst, which adds quality that enhances speed modifiers on a ring, amulet, or belt. Okay. Added a Noxious Catalyst, which adds quality that enhances physical and chaos damage modifiers on a ring, amulet, or belt. Ooh, nice. Added an Unstable Catalyst, which adds quality that enhances critical modifiers on a ring, amulet, or belt. Metamorphs created in Tane's laboratory now deal 10% more damage and have 80% more health. That's fine. They could use it, to be honest. Metamorphs and maps are harder than those, and they probably still will be. Brandis changes. Sources of Brandis coins have had their coin counts normalized. The selection of items sold by Kadiro has been modernized, and their costs have been adjusted accordingly. Vendors will no longer offer any scroll fragments in exchange for Brandis coins. Okay. Synthesis changes. Fractured items no longer have a visual effect applied to them. I'm not sure I understand the reasoning behind that. That's kind of odd. Talismans no longer drop using the well-rolled modifier system. This was explained in the Unveil, and this has to do with the new oil from Blight. Tainted oils that allow you to anoint corrupted items. Okay, Labyrinth Changes. Consuming an offering to the goddess in the map device now opens portals to a random trial of Ascendancy for the Eternal Labyrinth. Trials opened in this way will not award an offering to the goddess upon completion. Interacting with the Divine Font will now display a window with the available enchantments. For example, after completing the Eternal Labyrinth, a window will be displayed where you have the option to pick one of 3 helmet enchants or an enchantment for your boots or gloves. The daily Labyrinth ladder has been retired. The Labyrinth unique jewels that were previously obtainable by completing the Labyrinth in the fastest in a certain difficulty each day can now be obtained as rare rewards from Azara's treasure chests in the Eternal and enriched Eternal Labyrinth. So they're only Eternal Lab stuff. Good to know. Okay, character balance. The low threshold for life, mana, and energy shield is now 50% or below, previously below 35%. This means that a single 50% reservation will now put you into a low state. Light radius has been adjusted accordingly. The costs and reservation systems for skills has been extensively reworked and now adds new options. Previously, all skills had either a mana cost or a mana reservation, with a limited number of effects allowing you to spend different resources instead of mana. Now skills can have costs of mana, life, energy shield, and or less common resources such as rage. Most modifiers that previously affected mana costs now just affect costs, and will thus apply to all cost values. Modifiers which still specifically refer to mana costs will only modify the amount of mana a skill costs, not other cost values. That's really important for Archmage builds. Similarly, there are now some modifiers that specifically modify only life costs. Vaal skills requiring souls to use is not a cost, and thus modifiers to costs will not apply to them. This has technically always been the case, but because that distinction did not previously matter, a couple of modifiers referred to this as a cost. Those descriptions have been corrected. Similarly, the base reservation of a skill can now be an amount of mana or life, or both. Other resources may become reservable in future. And most modifiers to mana reservation now just affect reservation without restriction to either resource. Several mechanics have been adjusted to account for these changes. For example, changes to the blood magic support replace mana costs and reservations with life costs and reservations, and these changes will now be reflected in the new skill pop-ups. Alright, kind of went over that already. Percentage reservations are now stored with more precision internally, allowing them to have up to 2 decimal places in the percentage value. However, the total amount of resources reserved must still be a whole number. This prevents some cases where small reductions in reservation values would have no effect due to rounding. As an example, if a skill reserves 50% of mana, a modifier granting 1% reduced reservation will now change the reservation to 49.5% mana, where previously it would still be 50% due to the change not affecting the percentage by a whole number. However, it is still not possible to reserve less than 1% of something, so a player with 100 mana, that 49.5% reservation will still reserve 50 of it. For a player with 1000 mana, 495 would be reserved. Okay, that makes sense. Reserving life or mana no longer involves spending anything, so you don't need any current mana to turn on an aura. You just need enough of your mana orb to be unreserved that the aura's reservation will fit. However, while previously reservations were mutually exclusive with costs, this is no longer the case, and it is possible for a skill to have both a reservation and a cost, in which case the cost will still require spending, but using a reservation skill a second time to turn it off does not require paying the cost again. The most notable case of this is mind skills. These all have costs as well as reservations, which must both be satisfied to use the skill, and can be modified separately. This also means that mechanics that add to the cost of skills, such as Voidbringer unique gloves, will now affect skills with reservations, which previously escaped this due to being unable to have both. Likewise, support gems that add a mana reservation to skills such as Blasphemy no longer inherently remove the cost as part of that process. Okay, that's cool. So, if you accidentally turn off an aura, you don't have to wait for your mana to regen before you can turn it back on. Basically all that is. The stats which limit the total rate of recovery per second from Leech have been changed. Previously, these limited any recover. Wait. Previously, these limited any recovery based on what kind of leech it came from, but they now limit recovery from any leech based on what kind of recovery it is. This has no effect except in cases where one kind of leech applies a different kind of recovery. For example, the Keystone Immortal Ambition, which makes Life Leech cause Energy Shield recovery instead of life recovery. Previously, this was limited by maximum total recovery per second from Life Leech. That recovery will now be limited by maximum total Energy Shield recovery from Leech. That is so wordy, it's hard to grasp. But I understand the ES recovery from Immortal Ambition is now based on max ES Leech from then Life Leech. Okay. Modifiers that allow your hexes to affect hexproof enemies, such as Cosby's Will, Unique Body Armor, no longer allow your hexes to affect yourself while you have hexproof, as you are not your own enemy. I guess this is a nerf to Headhunter, like Tim Chain's self-curse. The Corrupted Blood debuff has been updated. It now has a maximum stack size of 10 and is now consistently treated as being completely separate from bleeding. Various bleeding-specific modifiers that may have previously applied to Corrupted Blood will no longer apply. Modifiers that affected both bleeding and Corrupted Blood, such as the of Staunching modifier on flasks, have had their descriptions updated to reflect this change. Monsters that apply Corrupted Blood have been balanced around these changes accordingly. Corrupted Blood applied by monster modifiers now have different values, and these values are now calculated based on the monster's level rather than its main hand damage. So some effects which raised monster attack damage no longer scale Corrupted Blood in unintuitive ways. Ooh. Call of Steel no longer has a cooldown, previously 0.2 seconds. Okay. Increased character size is now capped at 100%. Is that a nerf to the craziness of Headhunter? It might be. It very well might be. Alright. Skill balance. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Anger. Now grants 16 to 23 additional fire damage to spells at gym level 1, previously 15 to 21. That is a buff. And 109 to 155 additional fire damage to spells at gym level 20, previously 99 to 140. This makes the additional fire damage applied to attacks and spells by the same amount. Anger. Buffed. Berserk. Divergent quality now causes the buff to grant 0.25% more spell damage per 1% quality, previously 1%. Divergent Berserk gets a nerf. Blade Blast now deals 11 to 17 physical damage at gym level 1, previously 13 to 20, and 210 to 315 physical damage, previously 279 to 418 at gym level 20. Now has damage effectiveness of 50%, previously 60%. Ooh! That is a big, big chop. And the damage effectiveness. Ooh! Blade Blast. Yikes! Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay. Blade Vortex. Now has a base duration of 4 seconds, previously 5 seconds. Now has a radius of +2 at gym level 20, previously +4. Now has a damage effectiveness of 20%, previously 25%. That's a lot. Now deals 86 to 129 physical damage at level 20 from 101 to 151. Yikes. Big yikes, Blade Vortex. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Blade Blast, Blade Vortex, big nerfs. Big nerfs. Okay, Bladestorm now deals 70 to 108% more damage with bleeding while in Blood stance. This is a buff. Very cool. Flesh and Stone now requires 35% mana reservation, previously 25%. This is a nerf. Frostbomb. Cold Exposure now deals minus 15 to cold resistance, previously minus 25. This is a nerf. General's Cry. Mirage Warriors now channel for a duration of 0.6 seconds, previously 1 second. This is a nerf. Punishment. Cursed enemies now take 40 to 78% increased damage, while on low life, previously 50 to 88. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a buff, because low life is now 50% now instead of 35, but the damage drop off is only 10%. Well, yeah, I think this is actually a buff to punishment. Seismic Cry. Exerted attacks now deal 20% more damage per previous attack exerted by this war cry, previously 30%. Okay, this is a nerf. Spellslinger no longer supports skills granted by items. No longer activates if there are no valid linked skills. This is a buff. This is a slight nerf to what? I don't know. Spellslinger Whispering Ice? I don't know. Summon Carrion Golem. The Golem's Cascade skill now has a 6-second cooldown, previously 4 seconds. The skill now also travels a shorter distance and has less area of effect. Summoned Carrion Golem now deals approximately 11% less damage at all gym levels. This is a nerf. Oh, this is a Toxic Rain. The spread range of spore pods from Toxic Rain is now affected by area of effect modifiers. This means that having higher area of effect causes the resulting spore pods to spread out more. The base spread range of the spore pods has also been slightly lowered. Each spore pod now applies 5% less movement speed to nearby enemies, previously 10%, to a maximum of 30%, previously 60%. So they'll not slow as much. There's no damage nerf, but you can't stack overlaps as much because the area of effect is going to spread them out more rather than put them in the same area, causing them to overlap more. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to reduce the number of pods by 1 and reduce the damage, but the damage is still going to be there. So I'd say this is fine. That's not as bad as I thought it would be. Okay, Vigilant Strike. No longer grants increased Fortify duration. Now grants Fortify on melee hit for 6 seconds at gem level 1, up to 11.7 seconds at gem level 20. Quality no longer grants increased Fortify duration. Quality now grants Fortify for 0 to 2 seconds on melee hit. What? It doesn't give increased duration, it adds a flat duration. If I'm understanding that correctly. Because it gives it on melee hit for 6 seconds to 11.7. You don't understand, like, it's not a different stacking fortify buff, so I guess it just adds 2 to the base duration while not scaling the base duration. I guess. Vitality now causes you and nearby allies to regenerate 10 life per second at gem level 1, previously 15, and 193.2 life per second at gem level 20, previously 247. I feel that's fair, honestly. Like, it's with 5,000 life, this is 5% life regen. for like 200 mana. It was really strong. It's still going to be strong. It's still way better than it was. Wave of Conviction now has added damage effectiveness of 240%, previously 220%. Okay. It's not bad. So both. Exposure now applies minus 15 to elemental resistance, matching the highest damage taken, previously minus 25%. Now deals 35 to 52% physical damage at gem level 1, previously 32 to 48, and 1057 to 1585 physical damage at gem level 20, previously 972 to 1459. So, it's almost like they're angling for this to be like Wave of Conviction with added flat damage is so strong early on, it just destroys stuff. So they're buffing the added damage effectiveness and buffing the flat damage, so that the use of Wave of Conviction for exposure got nerfed, but the damage of Wave of Conviction got buffed. Okay. The only thing here that was not mentioned in the development manifesto was Spellslinger and Anger. Nothing else. Nothing else at all. That's it. Okay. So, I'm kind of theorizing that we might see buffs to some gems, but I guess not. Alright, now this is going to be fun. Vaal Skill Balance. Vaal skills can now only be obtained from a set of specific methods such as Vaal side areas, divination cards that specifically grant Vaal skill gems, and the lapidary lens in the Temple of Atsuwaro. Okay. So wait, so that means there's no 2123 Vaal gem from Delirium? That was the only way to acquire 2123 Vaal gem. I liked that. Okay. Damaging unique enemies now generates 6 Vaal souls, previously 3, per 2% life loss with a 1 second cooldown. Okay. Specific skills. Vaal Arc no longer causes modifiers to buff duration to also apply to this skill's soul gain prevention. Cool. Now has a cast time of 0.07 seconds from 0.08. Now has a soul gain prevention duration of 2 seconds, previously 6. Okay. Okay, so if you have any kind of increased duration on your build, so if you're using Vaal Arc to apply ignites, and you're increasing the duration, it is not going to change those 2 seconds. It'll still be 2 seconds. Alright, Vaal Blade Vortex. Now deals 11 to 17 physical damage at gem level 1, previously 14 to 20, and 276 to 413 physical damage at gem level 20, previously 331 to 496. Yep, it also got whacked with the nerf bat pretty hard. Now has added damage effectiveness of 60%, previously 75%. Now hits enemies every 0.2 seconds, previously 0.13. Now has a base duration of 5 seconds, previously 3. Okay, so that's a buff. Now stores up to 2 uses, previously 1. Okay. Now has a soul gain prevention of 6 seconds, previously 5. So the soul gain prevention of Vaal Blade Vortex went up. But you can store 2 uses of it, so like Vaal Double Strike, I guess you can stack your Vaal Blade Vortexes on a boss, like both of them at once. So this damage loss here, if you're running Vaal Blade Vortex, can kind of be mitigated a little bit with the 2 uses. So, well, I mean, it's almost nerfed right here though, with the hit rate. Because if this was 0.1, this 2 uses just puts it back where it was. So, but it does last longer. Blade Vortex still just got obliterated, I feel like. Normally, I'm like, okay, it still gets nerfed. It'll be fine. They're just kind of balancing it. I think Blade Vortex just got absolutely shredded. Vaal Blight now has a soul gain prevention duration of 7 seconds, previously 8. Okay. Vaal Burning Arrow now expends 15 souls per use, previously 20. Now stores up to 4 uses, previously 3. Now has a soul gain prevention duration of 1 second, previously 2. I love this. I love this. Vaal Burning Arrow was already so good, and it's just becoming more useful. And Burning Arrow is something that's really not utilized a lot. There's so many other bow skills that are pretty strong, so I really like this. I might toy around with that this league. Or this. Oh, this is getting a buff. Cool. Vaal Cold Snap now deals 46 to 69. Nice. Cold damage at gem level 1, previously 35 to 53. Off the flat damage. And 1571 to 2356 cold damage at gem level 20, previously 1002 to 1502. Ooh, big top end damage. Okay. Now deals 34.3 base cold damage per second at gem level 1, previously 29.4, slight buff. And 1532.7 base cold damage per second at gem level 20, previously 1495.5. Okay. Not bad. Slight buff in the cold dot. I've used this a lot. It's primarily just an additional damage dealer for bosses specifically with Cold Snap and Vortex. Slight buff there. That's cool. Now has added damage effectiveness of 350%, previously 200%. So if you're going to be trying to do damage with the hit of the Vaal Cold Snap rather than the damage over time, it will almost double in added damage effectiveness. The base radius of the hit is now 32, previously 15. That's big. That's big. Now has a soul gain prevention duration of 6 seconds, previously 8. So big buffs to Vaal Cold Snap. Cool. Vaal Cyclone now deals 80% of base attack damage at gem level 1, previously 50%. Okay, and 99% of base attack damage at gem level 20, previously 61. Now has 300% of base attack speed, previously 400%. Now expends 25 souls per use, previously 25. Now has a soul gain prevention of 5 seconds, previously 7. So the damage, I think it's gaining damage overall, but lowering the speed. So it's kind of roughly the same. It doesn't require as much souls to use, but it's still going to lock you in place for 5 seconds. So Vaal Cyclone is still a death trap. Vaal Earthquake now deals 70% of base attack damage at gem level 1, previously 60%. And 85% of base attack damage at gem level 20, previously 71. Ongoing effect now ends after 9 aftershocks, previously 7. Now has soul gain prevention duration of 9 seconds, previously 12. Cool. Vaal Earthquake gets buffed. Vaal Fireball now has a soul gain prevention duration of 4 seconds, previously 5. Okay. Vaal Flame Blast now deals 120% more spell damage for each stage, previously 110%. Now deals 100% more damage with ailments for each stage, previously 90%. Now has a base radius of 45, previously 35. Now it has -2 radius for each stage, previously -1. I thought it got bigger per stage. It has a base radius. It has a soul gain prevention duration of 3 seconds, previously 6. So it's available a lot more. It has a bigger base radius. It does more damage, but -2 to radius for each stage. Previously -1. Did the original Vaal Flame Blast shrink? I didn't think so, because it's like you put it down, it grows on its own. You don't have to channel it. So it might gain bigger radius. Vaal Flame Blast just might be enormous. Alright, Vaal Ground Slam. This attack can now be exerted as though it was not a Vaal skill. Now deals 250% base attack damage at gem level 1, previously 190, and 400% of base attack damage at gem level 20, previously 300. Now stores up to 4 uses instead of 3, soul gain prevention of 1 second, previously 2. Okay. Vaal Ground Slam, this is a pretty significant buff. Yep. Vaal Ice Nova now deals 18 to 26 cold damage at gem level 1, previously 11 to 17, and 518 to 762 cold damage at gem level 20, previously 274 to 428. Like, the low end damage is higher than the high end damage was before. Okay, we've also lowered the cast time from 0.7 from 0.8, which is good. 0.8 is a long time for a skill cast. For real. Now it's added damage effectiveness of 120%, previously 70%. Also a buff. Now stores up to 2 uses, previously 1. Big buff. Now has soul gain prevention of 2 seconds, previously 4. Vaal Ice Nova. Vaal Ice Nova. I've seen Mathel use Vaal Ice Nova several times, and he's constantly said is one of the most satisfying buttons to press in the game, specifically relating to Vaal Ice Nova, and they just skyrocketed the damage on that. Like, that's bonkers. And the damage effectiveness. Vaal Ice Nova. That's big. Vaal Lightning Strike now deals 105% base attack damage at level 1, previously 80%. Okay, 130% base attack damage at gem level 20, previously 98%. Has a base duration of 6 seconds, previously 8. Now stores 2 uses, previously 1, and soul gain prevention of 8 seconds, previously 10. So this is like what the boss of the ghetto map does. It puts a little thing on the ground that launches lightning strikes on its own. I think it's cool in theory, but I'd still not seen anyone really make that work. Vaal Lightning Trap now deals 26 to 79 lightning damage at gem level 1, previously 18 to 54, and 686 to 2057 lightning damage at gem level 20, previously 466 to 1399. So Vaal Lightning Trap got big damage buff. Most people just used it for the shocking ground though. Now has a damage effectiveness 250, previously 170, and soul gain prevention of 4 seconds, previously 6. So that's buffed. I don't know if it's going to be reliable for damage. Doesn't say anything about the number of uses. It might still only have 1 use. If it still only has 1 use, then... Alright. Vaal Rain of Arrows now fires 27 additional arrows at gem level 1, previously 17. A lot more. And 33 additional arrows at gem level 20, previously 21. Now fires 4 additional sequences of arrows, previously 3. Okay. Okay, Vaal Rain of Arrows, that's you. Alright. Vaal Reeve now deals 200% of base attack damage at gem level 1, previously 150, and 250% of base attack damage at gem level 20, previously 180%. Now expends 25 souls per use, previously 35, stores up 3 uses, soul gain prevention of 2 seconds. Vaal Reeve was pretty strong. If you had a build that could play Reeve and like clear with it, Vaal Reeve was just like, I want to delete everything on the screen. So, like, in addition to expanding your radius to 8, so it's a pretty significant buff to Vaal Reeve. Not bad. Vaal Righteous Fire now deals 80 to 99% of sacrifice, energy shield, and life as fire damage per second. Previously 161 to 180%. Sacrifices 60% of your total energy shield and life, previously 30%. So, this damage loss here is made up by it sacrificing more life and energy shield to reach a higher damage. Now grants 10 to 19 more spell damage, previously 15 to 28. And now has a soul gain prevention duration of 6 seconds, previously 12. Okay. So now, Vaal Righteous Fire can put you on low life and trigger adrenaline for a champion. 60%. Alrighty. Vaal Power Siphon now grants plus 25 to crit multi per power charge, previously plus 10. Okay. Now grants 50% increased crit chance per power charge, previously 20. Now stores up to 3 uses and has a soul gain prevention duration of 2 seconds, previously 4. Okay, that's a lot of crit multi per power charge. I think it kind of works a lot like Vaal Fireball too. So, yeah. Vaal Spark now soul gain prevention duration of 5 seconds, previously 6, slightly lowered. Okay. Vaal Spectral Throw now deals 125% of base attack damage at gym level 1, previously 91%, and 170% attack damage at gym level 20, previously 135%. Now fires 8 additional projectiles, previously 4. Now expends 15 souls per use, previously 10. It now has a soul gain prevention duration of 4 seconds, previously 6. I don't remember if that stored uses like the others. I almost feel like it did. I think it had 3. But they don't mention any changes to it. I don't know. I'd have to pull it out and look. Vaal Stormcall now deals 21 to 38 lightning damage at gym level 1, previously 14 to 26, and 510 to 947 lightning damage at gym level 20, previously 370 to 687. Vaal Stormcall was very strong before, and it's more strong now. It's great boss killer. Now has added damage effectiveness 130%, previously 100. Soul gain prevention of 7 seconds, previously 9. Okay. Alright. Support Gym Balance. Brutality Support. Now supports any skill that deals damage. Previously required the skill to hit an enemy. So now this can affect the Fizz dots. Pretty much what that is. Okay, Passive Tree Balance. A new Relentless and Veteran Soldier cluster has been added to the southeast of the Templar's starting location. Relentless causes you to regenerate 1% of life per second if you have stunned an enemy recently, and grants 25% increased physical damage. Veteran Soldier grants a 10% to physical damage over time multiplier plus 20 life and 20% increased physical damage. So I guess that's going to be a 5 passive little wheel that splits off from the center, and then you have 2 other nodes. And then you could split to get both. Okay, a new Vanquisher cluster has been added to the southwest. So this way, wait, so it's southeast, so that's near the Scion Life Wheelish. Okay. A new Vanquisher cluster has been added to the southwest, so over by Resolute Technique area. It causes you to crush enemies for 4 seconds when you hit them while they are on full life, and grants 40% increased physical damage. Crushing enemies is going to disintegrate their armor. So that's kind of cool. I like that. The red storm cluster has been removed and replaced with a new vitality extraction cluster. It causes you to recover 2% of life on kill if you've spent life recently, grants 25% increased damage with skills that cost life, and life flasks gain 1 charge every 3 seconds. Cool, you can get that on the tree. So the red storm cluster. Alright, I'm doing it. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do it. That's not what I needed. I want path of building. Okay, so I want to look at this red storm. I think it's this. So yeah, the red storm cluster's been removed. There's just a damage multi for bleeding, and it's more situated now around cover 2% of life on kill if you spent life in the last 4 seconds, 25 increased damage with skills that cost life, and life. This is so cool. That's on a tree somewhere now. I really like that. Cool. The small nodes at the Scion starting location, which previously granted increased melee physical damage, are no longer restricted to melee only. Awesome. That's big. I like that change too. Good for bleeding. Born to Fight. The increased melee physical damage and increased melee attack speed modifiers are no longer restricted to melee only. Okay. Where it is. Born to Fight. Did it say the small clusters too? Increased melee damage and increased melee attack speed modifiers. Okay, so just that node, I guess. So I think, so this is just going to have increased attack speed and physical damage, so that can be used for physical bow builds. Now, I guess these will still be melee physical, but this is like generic physical. Okay. Chainbreaker. No longer causes you to lose 5 rage when you hit an enemy no more than once every 3 seconds. Now causes skills to cost +3 rage. So for the Earthquake or Earth Shatter Chainbreaker builds. Okay, never mind. I was thinking that you use like Earthquake, right? It hits enemies and whatnot. But it's going to add a skill cost to your war cries, your curses, your movement skills, all of that. Okay, so I'm liking this change a little bit better now, because I think Chainbreaker was just a little too much for those champion slayer gauntlet builds. Corrupted Soul now causes you to gain 15% of max life as extra ES, previously 20%. Okay. Hardened Scars no longer grants Fortify during the effect of any life flask, now grants Fortify while recovering a life from a life flask. This is a way to ensure no one ever uses that again. Versatile Stance. The small node in this cluster that previously granted increased cooldown recovery for stance skills now grants 10% reduced reservation of stance skills. So that is going to put on the tree this. This is cooldown recovery rate for stance skills. This is now going to decrease reservation of stance skills to kind of fight back a little bit at the cost of Flesh and Stone. Okay. Atlas Passive Balance. Haywork Hamlets. Power Hungry has been removed. Per Demon has been moved to Glade Cairns. So these were the Beyond nodes. Added 2 small nodes which cause monster sacrifice at ritual altars to grant 10% increased tribute. Added Sacred Lands, which grants 10% chance for areas to contain ritual altars. Added Paid Blood, which allows you to reroll favors in areas 2 additional times, while also granting 100% increased chance of ritual altars with special rewards. The Grove's Call now grants plus 10% chance for areas to contain the Sacred Grove, previously plus 5%. Okay. Clarified that the Bribery Atlas passive causes 200% more items to drop instead of 2 additional items. This is purely a description change. So this is the June nodes up there in Hayward Hamlet. Turns in exotic goods now causes a wider selection of items to drop. So this is the Incursion. Adds Incursion enemy to the map and drops an item of value, and now has a wider selection of items. Big Game now has a 15% chance for yellow beast to replace with red beast, previously 30%. I'm not too upset by that nerf because it was so good. It was so good farming red beasts in that zone. Great Migration now has 10% chance for areas with Iron Harvesters to contain additional packs of beasts instead of other monsters, previously 5%. So they buffed Great Migration while nerfing Big Game. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's not gonna hurt too bad. It's still gonna be good. All right, Lex Proxima. Small harvest chance nodes now grant plus 3% for areas to contain the Sacred Grove, previously plus 2. They must have really nerfed it hard. Bumper Crop no longer causes harvest in an area to have double bonuses to item quantity and rarity. Okay. Part of the... I think it also had an addition... It caused an additional set of crops in the grove too, so I think they're just removing the extra quant. Heart of the Grove no longer grants 100% increased chance for areas to contain the Heart of the Grove. It now causes harvest bosses and areas to always drop a Sacred Boom. Okay. Seance now possesses 5 rare monsters, previously 20. I never used this, but having read about it in the development manifesto, that was probably is good. Packed with Energy now grants plus 1% to all maximum elemental resistances for each Voltaxic, Sulfite, Vein, or Chest found in areas. Okay. Lex Ejoris. Small Parandus nodes now grant a 10% chance to drop twice as many Parandus coins, previously 20%, increased stack size of Parandus coins found in areas. Okay, I hope they don't drop like stacks of single-digit numbers, because that sucked. I did extensive testing on that, and never again. Friend of the Family now causes Kadiro to offer the rarest of 3 options, previously 5. So hopefully they buff that a lot, because 5 could still get you a Stone of Lazwar. Escaped Experiment now has a 50% chance for areas to contain a Rogue Metamorph, previously 100%. No! They were so fun. Finest Samples now causes Metamorphs in areas to deal 15% more damage, previously 50%. That they did a lot of damage. In addition, it now causes Metamorphs in areas to have 150% more life, previously 100%. So, okay, they're making the fights more challenging, but not making them like one-shot you 50% of the time. But I'm sad to see the 100% chance for this Metamorph, Rogue Metamorph to go. Because you could get the Rogue Metamorph without having an actual Metamorph in the zone. You don't get any control over the mods. 90% of the time it had hexproof. They were so much fun to fight. Just like, oh crap, like I have to fight this Metamorph thing. It's you kind of have that fear in you that people used to have for Incursion bosses like 4 years ago. I really enjoyed that. So sad to see that drop to 50%. Time Dilation now causes Incursion monsters and areas to be at least magic rarity. Incursion Architects no longer drop an additional rare Incursion item. Okay. Pathological now has a 5% chance to apply layers of Delirium to maps found in areas, previously 10%. Okay. Compulsive Hoarder has a 10% chance to cause Delirium encounters to generate 3 additional reward types, previously 15. So nerf to the Delirium and Alexajoris. kind of further edging people to like play with Brandis, and yep, I'll just stop. Click Karens. These are out of order. New Vestir should have been next. Anyways, Click Karens. Cultural advancement has been removed. Its effect now appears on time dilation and Lexajoris. Protracted battle has been moved to New Vestir. Per demon has been added. Previously Heroic Hamlet. Rare beyond demons in areas now have a 25% chance to drop an additional basic currency item. Previously 35. High value targets has been added. Previously in New Vestir. Now grants Legion Sergeants an additional 25% chance to hold a reward. No longer guaranteed. RIP. Torn Veil now grants 50% increased beyond portal purging radius, previously 100%. Nerf. Face to Face no longer grants 100% more timeless splinters to drop from Legion Generals in areas. RIP. I liked that one too. High value targets have moved to Glennick Cairns, so okay, so the Legion Sergeants is here though. So it's kind of making up for it slightly. Okay. High value targets have been moved to Glennick Cairns. Protracted battle has been added previously in Glennick Cairns. Okay, so they're just swapping some of the Legion stuff around. Votive Horde now has a 20% chance for Abyssal Troves in areas to drop a rare item with an Abyssal Socket, previously 10%. It no longer increases the level of Abyssal Troves. Okay. So they're actually going to be gating 84 gems to Cirrus Watchstone and Abyssal Depths. Because 84 Abyssal Jewels have always been the most sought after because they have an extra tier of rolls. Sulfite hoarding monsters spawned by Sulfite Sentinels are now more dangerous but more rewarding. I never touched those. Out of the Blue now has a 20% chance for Sulfite veins and chests in areas to also contain equal amount of Azurite. Previously 5%. Okay. Total Anarchy now causes areas to have a 10% chance to contain 20 additional Rogue Exiles. Previously added 1 Exile per 2 additional content types. Yes. Yes. Big yes. Rogue Trader now has a 50% chance for Wild Rogue Exiles to have additional rewards. Previously 50%. However, it now causes them to have 200% increased maximum life. This is going to be very fun. I don't know how rewarding it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. That's what I know. Okay, Valdo's Rest. Diplomatic Escort now replaces one Harbinger with a King Harbinger instead of a group of Harbingers. Ooh, rip to that. King Harbinger is the last enemy that spawns in, I think, both Delve Harbinger encounters and the Beachhead maps. Gut Instinct now provides 5 intelligence for the current encounter's safe house if an Immortal Syndicate member is not interrogated, previously 3. Okay, cool. I'm all for more June stuff. It was good before. Now it's better. Lyra Arthane. Natural selection no longer makes rarer beasts quite as common. It was kind of nuts, to be honest. Immune response now causes blight monsters to spawn 150% faster, previously 100%. Okay. Spores on the Wind now causes maps found in areas to have a 5% chance to have areas contain additional blight encounter enchantment mod, previously 10%, so that nerfed that. Flash Breach now causes breaches in areas to open and close 50% faster, previously 100%. Okay. No change to the heist stuff. It's the only zone that heist stuff can spawn in. Meh. Uncharted Realms. Neural Pathways now grants a plus 1% chance, previously plus 0.5, for a synthesis map to be dropped from unique bosses and tier 14 plus maps, previously tier 11 plus. So they buffed that. That's nice. They took it away from Zana, so... Okay. Sorry. Ascendancy Balance. Ascendant Gladiator. No... So this is the Ascendant. Scion. No longer grants 25% more damage with bleeding, now grants 25% more physical damage over time. Right on. Berserker. Minor nodes now grant 10% increased physical damage, previously 12% increased attack physical damage. So it's generic physical damage, so it can apply to the new physical spells. Defy, okay, and Pain Reaver has been replaced with Defy Pain. Pain Reaver was the 40% more damage, 10%, I think. Here, let me make sure. Or get that wrong. No, that's Aspect of Carnage. Pain Reaver. Previously, 2% of attack damage leeches life and mana. Attack speed if you've been hit recently. An increased total recovery, max total recovery from life leech if you've taken a savage hit recently. Okay. They removed that for Defy Pain. Gain Defiance for 10 seconds on losing life to an enemy hit. No more than once every 0.3 seconds. Okay. 25% increased armor per Defiance, so that it stacks. 50% increased maximum total recovery per second. Oh, and it does say life recovery. Life recovery per second from leech while you have Defiance. So it's not permanent. You have to get hit first. At 10 Defiance, take reflected physical damage equal to maximum life. Then lose all Defiance. Take reflected physical damage equal to maximum life. That can be... I think that, like, it's going to be your life pool. Whatever your life pool is, you're going to take that much physical damage that can then be reduced by armor and other physical damage mitigation, I would think. So it's not going to be as bad as it sounds, I don't think, but I could be wrong. Flawless Savagery. The increased critical strike chance modifier now applies to both attacks and spells. The added physical damage modifier now applies to both attacks and spells. That is this up here. Adds 20 to 30 physical damage to attacks and spells now if you dealt a critical strike recently. Cool. And also provides crit chance to both attacks and spells. Cool. I like it. Assassin, Ambush and Assassinate now grants 15% more damage with hits and ailments against enemies that are on low life, previously 25%, but now low life is 50% and lower instead of 35% and lower, so that kind of balances out. Gladiator, Gratuitous Violence no longer grants 20% more damage with bleeding, it's now 20% more physical damage over time. Alright. Elementalist Bastion of Elements, Primal Aegis now takes 75 damage per allocated notable passive skill, previously 100. I need to read that, because that does not make sense to me, and I really haven't touched this. Bastion of Elements triggers Primal Aegis when allocated. Primal Aegis can take 100 damage per allocated notable passive skill. I see, so it's like a shield. It's like a shield. So the more notable skills you take on your tree, the more damage you can take, but they're nerfing that from 100 to 75 per. Fair enough. Necromancer Essence Glutton now causes you to regenerate 4% of mana over 2 seconds when you consume a corpse, previously 8%. So they nerfed that. Liege of the Primordial. It is no longer possible to temporarily bypass your golem limit. For example, if your golems died very quickly with the Flesh Crafter unique body armor. Okay. Pathfinder Master Surgeon now removes corrupted blood when you use a flask. So, one thing I would like to see here that still isn't here, make Juggernaut good. I want +1 maximum resistances per endurance charge somewhere in this Juggernaut. Yeah, +1 max res per endurance charge. And maybe it could have a drawback of like -2 endurance maximum endurance charges or something. I don't know. Like something to make Juggernaut better. I would have liked to see that, but otherwise, okay. All right. Moving on. Item balance. The Orb of Binding has been added to the core drop pool and can be obtained from various sources throughout the game, and we still might not see one of them before 6 sockets drop while leveling, so who knows. So actually how useful that'll be. The Sacrificial Garb body armor now drops with a +1 to level of all Vaal's skill gems implicit modifier. Existing items cannot gain this modifier. Okay. The enemies you kill explode, dealing X% of their life as physical damage modifiers, can no longer appear on Crusader-influenced body armors or as synthesis implicits. To replace this, modifiers that grant enemies you kill have X% chance to explode, dealing 1/10 of their maximum life as physical damage have been added. Existing items will retain the original modifiers and cannot be updated to the new modifiers. So, okay. There's gonna be about to be a bloodbath, probably currently ongoing, bloodbath and standard to acquire explodey chests. Right on. Quivers can no longer roll the global critical strike chance, global critical strike multiplier, or global damage over time multiplier. Instead, they can now roll critical strike chance with bows, critical strike multi with bows, and damage over time multiplier with attacks. Existing items cannot obtain the newer modifiers through divine orbs. So existing items will exist here. Hunter influence quivers can no longer roll global physical, fire, chaos damage over time multiplier modifiers. Instead, they now roll physical, fire, or chaos dot with attack skills. Okay. Existing items will be updated to the newer versions. Okay. So existing items on normal quivers will stay, but existing items on hunter influence quivers will be changed to the newer mods. Okay. The corruption outcome on quivers that granted skills chance +1 times modifier has been removed. Ah, okay, I see. In its place, an arrows chain +1 times modifier has been added. Fair enough. Existing items will be updated to the newer versions. Changing corrupted items. Okay. You can no longer craft X% of physical damage converted to X damage modifiers on items which already have a modifier of this type present. Interesting. Okay. A physical damage over time multiplier has been added as a prefix mod to wands and staves. Okay. I would like to see this as a veiled mod, honestly, to keep it in line with everything else. Then you could use it on bows and other things. The physical damage over time multiplier modifier can now be rolled on Cobalt Jewels. Previously, could only be rolled on Viridian and Crimson Jewels. Okay. Elder Influenced Weapon modifier that grants 60% chance for poisons inflicted with this weapon to deal 100% more damage has been removed. In its place, Elder Influenced weapons can now roll a new local poison damage over time multiplier modifier. This next thing says the exact same thing, but for bleeding. So, Elder Influenced weapons can now roll a new local bleeding damage over time multiplier modifier instead of the double damage with 60% chance. The Hunter Influence modifier that granted increased damage with poison has been removed. A new modifier that grants chaos damage over time has been added in its place. Under influence modifier on what? On weapons? Okay. Chaos damage over time. Added in its place. Maybe this is chaos damage over time multiplier? The Warlord influence modifier that granted damage with bleeding has been removed. A new modifier that grants physical damage over time, probably supposed to say multiplier as well, has been added in its place. It literally opened this the second it was available, so there could be edits to this. I'll refresh it before I end the video. Elder and Shaper influenced rings can no longer roll increased melee damage, increased projectile damage, or increased spell damage modifiers as suffixes. Oh! I actually used that. I used the spell damage on a Shaper steel ring to play a kinetic bolt. I liked that. This was cool. Okay. The Sextant modifier, which granted players deal X% damage for each poison on them. Players have X% increased movement speed for each poison on them, and areas contain X additional packs of poisonous monsters, has been removed. RIP. Watchstones that don't have Sextant modifiers applied to them can be imprinted once again. Okay. So you can imprint Watchstones. Can you imprint heist gear? I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. You probably can. You can no longer obtain the areas have plus 2% chance to grant Atlas mission on completion modifier on Titanium Watchstones. The plus 4% and plus 6% versions of this modifier can still be obtained. So they just took off the lowest roll of that. Flasks can no longer be obtained from the Fateful Meeting Divination card. What? What is that? Wiki. Fateful Meeting. I see. Okay. This is a League-specific item, double influenced item, 2 implicit corrupted. You can no longer get flasks from that. Okay. Unique blight items that have been anointed now show their passive skill information when hovered. Okay. The of treasures modifier on strong boxes now grants 100 to 250% more rarity of contained items. Previously 1000 to 2000% increased rarity of contained items. I didn't feel like that was bad. I guess there's the thing that guarantees corrupted items. Corrupted strong boxes. Maybe it was causing issues with that. The Forbidden Woods and Silo maps can no longer roll the twinned modifier. Interesting. A little bit of knowledge. Okay. Essence balance. General essence changes. Screaming essences can now be used to reforge rare items. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In addition to upgrading normal items to rare. Cool. This brings them into line with shrieking and deafening essences. Fantastic. Great change. Deafening Essence of Anguish now grants 31 to 44% chance to avoid igniting to helmets, boots, and belts, previously 31 to 34. Okay. Deafening Essence of Contempt, so these are the highest rolls. Now adds 19 to 25 to 39 to 45 physical damage to one-handed weapons, up from 17 to 24 to 36 to 41. It's a slight buff, but not much. It's still barely higher than what you can craft onto a one-handed weapon. Deafening Essence of Contempt now adds 30 to 41, 63 to 73. Physical damage to 200 weapons, previously 27 to 38, 58 to 66. So it's slight buffs to Deafening Essence of Contempt. They're still nowhere close to the top end. You can get Flat Fizz on stuff. Essence of Dread. No longer grants plus to weapon range to melee weapons. Now grants increased impale effect to melee weapons. Okay. Screaming Essence of Dread. Buffed armor rates on Shrieking Essence of Dread and Deafening Essence of Dread to armor and belts. They buff that at... well, this was a huge range. So it's overall buffed at the top end, but... there might be a typo in here. This might be supposed to be 480. Because there's usually always an overlap, right? Like this is 400, this is 401. Because see how this was 139 to 322. This is okay. No, there was a 220 armor gap there before. There's still 21 armor gap there, I guess. Interesting. That's odd. Essence of Envy. No longer grants physical attack damage, leeches, mana to weapons and quivers. Now grants local added chaos damage to weapons, which is kind of cool. I might have a plan for that. Now grants added chaos damage with attacks to quivers. Might have a use for that too. I don't know if I want to play it with a bow build. We'll see. Essence of Misery. No longer grants projectiles pierce additional targets to quivers. Now grants physical damage leech as mana to quivers. Deafening Essence of Scorn now grants 31 to 44% chance to avoid being stunned to gloves and helmets, previously 31 to 34. Let's up that chance. Shrieking Essence of Woe now grants a higher flat energy shield to body armors, previously 73 to 82, now 77 to 90. Deafening Essence of Woe, so the top tier now grants 88 to 95 to body armors, 75 to 85 to shields, 38 to 45 to gloves and boots. All of those numbers are buffed. The Deafening Essence of Woe is still a really great way to craft ES gear. Essence of Zeal. No longer grants increased stun and block recovery to helmets and body armor. Now grants increased Warcry speed to helmets. That's cool. I like this. Now grants increased totem placement speed to body armors. I like this too. I like both of these changes. Warcry speed, totem placement speed. It fits with the Essence of Zeal better than the stun and block recovery. So yeah. Big fan of that. Essence of Delirium. No longer grants chaos damage, leeches life to amulets. Now gives 10% damage over time multiplier to amulets. Not bad. Not bad at all. Wonder if it's a prefix or suffix. That's pretty potent. No longer grants 40% increased damage with poison to quivers. Now grants 25% increased effect of your marks to quivers. Arguably is better. Increased effect of marks is really nice. No longer grants 40% increased damage with poison to rings. Now grants hexes you inflict have +5 to maximum doom on rings. Also really cool. No longer grants 2% of your maximum mana when you block the shields. Now grants a 15% chance to block spell damage while on low life to shields. Also cool. The weapon modifier that causes your hits to inflict decay now inflicts 700 chaos damage, previously 500 per second for 8 seconds. Existing items with this modifier will be updated to this new value. Cool. I like the changes from Essence to Delirium. That's much more useful. There's a lot of things I like on that. Essence of Horror. The chill nearby enemies when you block modifier granted to shields now has a greater radius. Alright. otherwise unchanged. Essence of Hysteria. No longer grants socketed gems have plus 50% chance to ignite the helmets. Because ignite chance is so easy to acquire. So, now grants socketed gems, deal 30% more damage while on low life to helmets instead. And low life just got buffed, so. Cool. Now grants 25% increased area effect to body armor, previously 10%. That's a buff. Now grants 60 to 100 fire damage if you blocked recently to shields, previously 40 to 80. That's a pretty significant chunk of fire damage. I don't know that I've ever seen that used, but it's cool. Now grants 150% increased recovery per second from life leech to ambulance, previously 40%. I think this is pretty useless unless it's maximum recovery. Now grants gain 15% physical as extra fire to quivers, previously 10%. The boots modifier that drops burning ground while moving, dealing 2500 fire damage per second, now does so for 4 seconds, previously 1 second. The burning ground visual effect has also been updated to more accurately reflect the damage area. Existing items with this modifier can be updated to the new value with a divine orb. Cool. The weapon modifier now always casts Fire Burst on hit, previously 10% chance. Existing items with this modifier will be updated to the new value. Fire Burst now has a 1 second cooldown, previously 0.5. Now has 6% crit chance, previously 5%. Fire Burst now has add-up damage effectiveness of 340%, up from 130%. Fire Burst now has a base radius of 24 from 15. Fire Burst deals 15 to 26. 2288 fire damage at gem level 20, previously 703 to 1055. The weapon modifier now always casts fire. Does it give you a gem level? I guess it is level 20 fire burst. That could be built around as well, I think. That's cool. Only once a second though. Can this cooldown be reduced with cooldown reduction? I imagine it probably can, but we won't know for sure until we can test. Essence of Insanity no longer grants you and your minions take reduced reflected damage to quivers, now grants projectiles pierce 2 additional targets to quivers. Cool. No longer grants 12% increased movement speed while on burning, chilled, or shocked ground to boots, now grants 70% increased mana regeneration rate while shocked to boots. So interesting play here. You must be shocked, so you take increased damage, but you can get increased mana regeneration. Yeah. Mana regeneration is good for a lot of things. So, Chainbreaker. But shocked is, yikes. There's some way to build around this, I believe. Now grants Onslaught for 6 seconds when hit to body armors, previously 3 seconds. Now grants you and your minions take 40% reduced reflect damage, previously 10%. To rings. Now grants 25% chance to gain a power charge when you block the shields from 10. And Spectral Spirits summoned from the weapon might now deal 32% more damage. Now I think I remember... So Essence Balance, I don't remember it saying anything at the top, it just said read the Essence thing. I think it said, they said in the announcement trailer that these, I think all of these essences are now only acquirable through essence mechanics. So you wouldn't be able to get them from incubators or heists or deliriums. That's not included here in the patch notes. So I'm unsure about that. Again, I will refresh at the end of the video and see if there's anything that's been added. But that's not mentioned here or at the top where it said to read this section. Okay, Abyss Jewel Balance. The following Abyss Jewel modifiers have been adjusted. Please note that only the highest tier of modifiers has been listed. Lower tiers of these modifiers have also been adjusted in similar ways. Additionally, habitual modifier weightings have been adjusted. So, energy shield regen per second has been increased by a lot. Life regen per second is increased by a lot. Mana regen per second has been increased as well. Increased effect of cold ailments has been increased. Increased effect of lightning ailments increased. And this is lightning and cold ailments, so that affects brittle and sapped. Adds flat chaos damage to attacks, has been buffed by a lot. Cool. 17 to 20% chance to avoid being ignited, previously 9 to 10%. So that's the same for to avoid being chilled, frozen, shocked, poisoned, and stunned, and chance to avoid bleed. So that's all buffed to a maximum of 20% now, which is cool. I would chilled and frozen are separate modifiers here. They're grouped together in lots of other places, but not on the boots crafts either, though. So minions deal additional chaos damage, has been top end nerfed. Minions deal physical damage, has been top end nerfed. It's very, very minimal. Minions deal fire damage has been buffed quite a bit. Same with cold damage, it's also been buffed for minions. Minions deal lightning damage, the low end has been lowered, but the high end has been raised significantly. Minions regenerate 27 to 30 life per second, previously 9 to 12. Okay. Alright. Cluster Jewel Balance. Added a new Cluster Jewel notable. Blood Artist grants a 14% physical damage over time multiplier if you've spent life recently and 20 strength. Cool. Added a new Cluster Jewel notable. Lobotomist grants a 14 physical damage over time multiplier if you've dealt a critical strike recently and increased critical strike chance. Okay. The Cluster Jewel notable aerodynamics now grants 10% increased projectile speed, previously 20%. The Cluster Jewel notable brand loyalty now causes enemies to take 4% increased damage for each of your brands attached to them, previously 5%. So that's a nerf to that. Brand loyalty. The Cluster Jewel notable Dark Discourse now grants 6% increased effect of your curses from 10%. Okay. The Cluster Jewel notable Exposure Therapy now grants plus 8% damage over time multiplier, previously 10%. This is still going to be really good. This notable also gives you 30% chaos damage or chaos resistance to damage over time, which is very strong. So I don't think that 2% damage over time multiplier is too lost there. The Cluster Jewel notable First Among Equals now grants 6% increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills, previously 8%. Okay. Cluster Jewel notable Grand Design now grants 10% increased brand attachment range from 20. Oof. Cluster notable Hemorrhage now grants a 15% damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strikes, previously 18, and 30% increased critical strike chance, previously 40. Okay. That's Poison Bleed, Slight nerf. I like that. Nothing I've seen here has been too big of nerfs. Maybe the Curse effect and Aura effect. Fucking Curse and Aura bots. Cluster Jewel, Cluster Jewel notable Magnifier no longer grants 10% increased area damage. So it's probably just an AoE thing. Cluster Jewel notable Rend no longer grants plus 12 damage over time multiplier for bleeding. It now grants physical damage over time multiplier. 12% still. It's fine. Cluster Jewel notable Renewal now causes minions to have 5% chance to deal double damage while they're on full life, previously 6%. Okay. Still stackable. Cluster Jewel notable Replenishing Presence now grants 6% increased effective non-curse auras from your skills, previously 8%. More nerfed Aura Stackers, Aura Bots. Cluster Jewel notable, Snowstorm. Now causes you to gain 8% of lightning damage as extra cold damage against chilled enemies, previously 10%. Okay. I'm not too sure why that's being nerfed, but okay. I've not heard of anybody really going out of the way to use that one, but my head's normally in the clouds, so. Cluster Jewel notable, Stalworth Commander now causes Determination, Discipline, and Grace to have 15% increased aura effect, previously 20. Okay. That does scale the alternate qualities of these too, so. Alright. The Cluster Jewel notable, Streamline now grants 20% increased projectile speed, previously 30. They're cutting down on projectile speed. Which does 30%, that's a lot of speed, but. Yep. Cluster Jewel notable, Surprise Sabotage now grants plus 8% to critical strike multiplier with traps and mines, previously 10%. And trap and mine damage now penetrates 4% elemental resistances, previously 5%. That's 4% pen and 8 crit multi. I haven't played a mine build or trap build since Cluster Jewels have been added, so I haven't used this, but it still seems really strong. 8% multi, 5% pen. Okay. Cluster Jewel notable, Tempered Arrowheads now causes bow skills to have 10% increased skill effect duration, previously 20. The shots fired at Toxic Rain. Cluster Jewel notable, Vast Power now grants 3% increased area effect per power charge up to a maximum of 50%, previously uncapped. 3% increased area effect per power charge up to a maximum of 50%, previously uncapped, so 3 times 16, you can't. How do you get 16 power charges? And that's still not even capped. You'd need 17 power charges to cap this. Okay. Cluster Jewel notable, Vengeful Commander now causes Anger, Hatred, and Wrath to have 15% increased Orb effect, previously 20. That's a nerf to Orbots. Cluster Jewel notable, Wicked Paul now grants 30% increased Chaos damage, previously 35%, and 5% increased skill effect duration, previously 10%. More nerf to Toxic Rain. And Cluster Jewel notable, Widespread Destruction now grants 6% increased AoE, previously 10. Okay. That was a lot. Physical dot multis seem really strong. Nerfed a bit of the other dot multi. Kind of pushing you in that direction. Okay. Oil changes. The following map modifiers available by anointing blighted maps have been adjusted. Verdant Oil now grants 35% increased experience gain. Now grants 5% increased pack size, previously 15%, so increased experience gain. I don't know if that's enough to make experience gain in blighted maps good. But alright. Teal Oil no longer causes varieties of items contained in 5 blighted chests to be lucky. Now causes blight monsters and areas to spawn 25% faster. Now causes encounter duration to be 40 seconds shorter. Ooh, that's awesome. That's very cool. Cool. I like that one. Azure Oil no longer grants 15% increased experience gain. Put up here. Now causes varieties of items contained in 4 blight chests to be lucky. So they're nerfing the lucky. Teal Oil speeds up your blight maps per hour, increases your loot per hour. So, hey. Indigo Oil no longer causes towers to deal 40% more damage. Now causes blight encounters in areas to contain up to 3 additional blight bosses. don't know what good that causes. They added it on the Atlas passives. I don't know why increasing. I can understand it in maps because you get 2 chests instead of 1 from that. What good is it in the Blighted map to have an additional boss? I don't know. Okay. Violet Oil. No longer grants 30% increased quantity of items found in an area. Now causes lanes of Blight encounters to have a 20% chance for additional reward chest. Hurts the farming of Blight uniques. Kind of pushes you to roll the map, I guess. Oh, okay. They accounted for that elsewhere. Black Oil. Now grants 6% chance for Blight chests to contain additional reward, previously 10%. So they nerfed the Black Oil. They leave the Gold Oil the same because it's not listed here. Opalescent Oil. Now causes varieties of items contained in 15 Blight chests to be lucky. Okay. Now grants 5% increased pack size, previously 25% chance. But there's no changes here to Crimson Oil. So maybe Crimson Oil's still like 9. Lucky Blight chests. And this will be 15 opalescent oils. I like that. Silver Oil no longer causes varieties of value. Oh, it used to be on silver. The Blight 15 Blight chests. Now grants 65% increased quantity of items found in an area. So you would need to use silver oils to farm for the Blight uniques. Crafted Veiled Modifier Balance. Okay, so the thing I was really hoping for. Added a physical damage over time multiplier modifier. Attacks with this weapon penetrate 11 to 13% elemental resistances, previously 9 to 10. Fantastic. Attacks with this weapon penetrate 11 to 13% chaos resistance, previously 9 to 10%. Let's see, let me read this. The following crafted veiled modifiers have been adjusted. Please note that only the highest tier of craftable modifiers have been listed. Lower tiers of these modifiers have been adjusted in similar ways. Okay, so increased fire damage with increased chance to ignite. That has been buffed to 18 to 20% from 10 to 11% chance to ignite. The damage remains the same. The same has been done for cold damage, 18 to 20% chance to freeze from 10 to 11, and lightning damage, 18 to 20% chance to shock from 10 to 11%. The same thing has been done on two-handed weapons. Fire damage, 29 to 34% chance to ignite from 21 to 23. Cold damage, 29 to 34 chance to freeze. And lightning damage, 29 to 34% chance to shock. Well, this is not the way I thought they were going to go with this, but it's the way they're going with it. So, 31 to 35 to fire damage over time multiplier, previously 36 to 40. So now you're only getting 36 to 40 through the veiled mods that are now upgraded. Same has been done with cold.multi and chaos.multi. So now the highest you can get from your crafting bench is now 31 to 35 instead of 36 to 40. Slight bummer, but that won't be too much of an issue. 21 to 25 to strength and dexterity, previously 15 to 17. Same for dexterity and intelligence, and strength and intelligence. So the dual attribute crafts are now stronger, which is not bad. Regenerate 150 energy shield per second while a rare or unique enemy is nearby, previously 120. Okay. 41 to 45 to maximum life, previously 34 to 40, and 41 to 45 max mana, previously 34 to 40. So they buffed the hybrid life mana. Um, Same for the flat life with mana regen and the flat mana with life regen. All been the flat values of mana have been increased by 5. 17 to 20% increased brand attachment range. Previously 11 to 12%. That's fine. You took it away from the cluster jewels, so it's added back here. Get it back. 15 to 17% increased damage. Previously 17 to 20. Oh. Non-chainling skills have -7 to -6 total mana cost. Previously -9 to -8. Oof. 20 to 30% chance to avoid elemental ailments. Previously 25 to 35%. And 20 to 30% chance to avoid being stunned. Previously 25 to 35%. So they nerfed the elemental ailment chest. 90% increased effect of Fortify while you are focused, previously 120%. So 30% Fortify effect is 6% damage mitigation removed from this, which is good. That's something I wanted. Trigger a this is huge. Trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill with an 8-second cooldown. Previously 4 seconds. That is a nasty change that is just now being discovered. Yikes. Ooh. Ooh. So maybe there's a higher tier mod that you can get. So maybe this is what's craftable, and maybe you have to, if you want it to be 4 seconds, maybe you can get it by using a veil, like adding a veil through Aisling. After you kill the mastermind in your betrayal encounter, right? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Um, yeah. Oof. Big oof. All right, water. Unique item balance. Many unique items that were league specific have now also been added to the core drop pool. The Death Aura skill, granted by Death's Oath, unique body armor now deals 758 base chaos damage per second, previously 563. So buff to Death's Oath build. Cool. The Law of the Wild's unique claw now has a 20% chance to trigger level 25 Summon Spectral Wolf on critical strike with this weapon, previously level 20. Existing items will be updated. There's a buff. The Infernal Mantle unique body armor now causes you to take 15% increased spell damage when on low mana. Previously 25%. Existing versions can be updated to new values with the Divine Orb. So that's kind of to balance out the low mana being 50% mana. But Infernal Mantle, take 15% increased spell damage is a lot. I still I don't know. I think it gives you like fire as extra chaos, or I don't remember. The Gluttony unique belt now has a level requirement of 48, previously 8. This change was introduced unintentionally in patch 3.13. Okay, the Null's Inclination unique bow now causes minion spells triggered by it to have a 0.25 second cooldown with 5 uses, previously no cooldown. Minions now deal 1% increased damage per 5 dexterity, previously 10. Previously 10 dexterity, 10% damage. Probably 10 dexterity. They wouldn't nerf that by 100%. Existing items will be updated to new versions. So yeah, they're calling this a buff. So yeah. The Molten Burst skill granted by Namhu's Flame unique axe now fires 3 additional projectiles, previously 2. Okay. I've seen a lot of people use that. So people like that. The Replica Last Resort Unique Claw now grants 25% increased attack speed when on low life, previously 50%. Existing versions can be upgraded to the new values with the Divine Orb. Okay. That's a low life change, but it's a Replica Last Resort, so it's only an early game thing. The Brand Surge skill, granted by the Witch Hunter's Judgment unique staff, now deals approximately 20% more damage, and overcharged brands now activate 35% faster, previously 25%, plus 35%, previously 25% every 0.5 seconds. Okay. We've done some theory crafting with this staff. We've not actually put anything together that really is doing anything yet, but yeah. Added a 5th variant of the Vessel of Vingtar, which grants 25 to 40% increased effective shock during the flask effect and causes shock to spread to other enemies in a radius of 20 during the flask effect. It can be used by a support. Shock support. The damage conversion variation of the Vessel of Vingtar now causes 50% of physical damage to be converted to lightning during the flask effect, previously 20%. Existing versions can be updated to new values using Divine Orb. Seems like a buff. It's a really nice way of getting physical conversion if you're trying to do lightning. The added lightning damage to spells variation of Vessel of Vingtar now grants 25 to 35 to 110 to 130 lightning damage to spells during the flask effect, which is a significant buff, I'd say. Existing versions can be updated with a Divine Orb. The Vigil unique jewel now grants Fortify with a base duration of 8 seconds, previously 12 seconds. Okay. The Adzeres Ray unique jewel now causes Vaal skills to have a 15 to 20% chance to regain consumed souls when used, and now has a limit of 1, previously 2. The Rigwald's Quills unique quiver no longer has the projectile's fork modifier. This has been replaced with Arrow's fork modifier. Existing items will be updated. Okay. The Signifial unique quiver no longer has the physical damage added as fire. It's now been replaced with physical attack damage added as fire damage. Existing items will be updated. Alright. Nothing too much there. Interesting stuff with the Brand Surge from Heart of the Grove. Interesting stuff with the flasks as well. Everything else, well, I've always been kind of like curious about these Summon Spectral Wolf. I've never seen anybody do anything with that. I might play around with that this league if I get the chance. Apep Slumber. Incursion unique changes. Apep Slumber is now on a Vaal Spirit Shield base type. That's funny. Now adds 50 to 55 to 72 to 80 chaos damage. Previously 20 to 22, 30 to 37. That's a big buff. I like it. Now causes you to regenerate 80 energy shield per second per poison on you. Previously 50. Up to 400 per second. Previously 250. Okay. Coward's Chains. No longer grants 20 to 25% increased damage. Now causes you to count on full life while you are cursed with vulnerability. Oh. It used to be low life while you were cursed with vulnerability. But damage on full life would always work even if you're on low life. Now. This was used as a way, like before, to trigger, like if you're cursed with vulnerability from the Adzeres mirror, and soul mantle stuff, you could count on low life without having to use shavs because of the spell. Now grants 15 to 20 all attributes, which was previously 10 to 15. So that completely changes the way this belt works. Mask of the Spirit Drinker is now a Magic Straight Crown base type. Now grants 30 to 60 max ES. Now grants 140 to 220. Increased armor and energy shield, previously 60 to 80. Now grants 80 to 100 to max life, previously 30 to 50. Okay. I feel like I'd have to see these unique items to really understand what a lot of these are, because these are so, like, buried behind the house uniques for most of them. So, Dance of the Offered is now on a Carnal Boots base type. No longer cause you to lose 30 to 40 mana per second. Now grants the Agnostic. Now grants 25 to 30 to Lightning Res, previously 15 to 20. I think this is they're the boots. It doesn't say anything about the upgraded version, like Omisian or whatever it's called. I don't know. Story of the Vaal, now Gem Sword base type, no longer grants 20 to 30 life on kill. Now causes hits with this weapon to freeze enemies as though dealing 150 to 200% more damage, as well as shock, as though dealing 150 to 200% more damage. Now causes ignites inflicted with this weapon to deal 50 to 75% more damage. Now grants 180 to 210% increased physical damage, previously 110 to 120%. Seems like a buff. Sacrificial Heart no longer causes you to gain a power charge when you use a Vaal skill. Now causes you to gain up to maximum power charges when you use a Vaal skill. Cool. Cool. Architect's Hand is now on Ambush Mid's base type. Now grants 200 to 250 increased evasion and energy shield, previously 100 to 125. No longer causes skills used by traps to have 10 to 20% increased area of effect. Now grants 46% chance to throw up to 4 additional traps. I know somebody who was playing a trapper using these gloves for Toxic Rain. So just more area of effect nerf to that, but it gives you a chance to throw up to 4 additional traps, which is kind of cool. Note, Divine Orbs cannot be used to change base types or add and remove modifiers. Numerical changes to existing modifiers can be updated using a Divine Orb. Okay. So you can Divine Orb your original Architect's Hands to get the ES buff, I think. Alright, almost done. Monster changes. The final bosses of each act have had their drops reworked. They now drop both more and better items, so that they can be profitably farmed if desired. Okay. When I played in the China client, they have the first time you beat a boss, it guaranteed to drop a unique, so I feel like a lot of times the bosses don't drop much of anything. So I think this change is good. Divine Distillate. Extra quant there too. The base life of all harvest monsters has been reduced by 30 to 50%. However, harvest machinery now grants monsters around 100% extra increased life on average. The intention here is to keep the life values of monsters spawned in harvest encounters approximately the same as they were before, but significantly lower the life values on desecrated versions of these monsters to bring them into line with other desecratable monsters. Please note that Primal Blister Lords and Primal Crush Claws have had their life reduced by a greater percentage as a result of this change. Okay, that's a nerf to Detonate Dead builds. They were really popular in the Gauntlet. The Allies Cannot Die aura has been removed. To replace this, a new Benevolent Guardian Nemesis modifier has been added, which causes the monster with this modifier to apply an immunity buff to nearby allies for a short duration. If the original monster is slain, affected allies lose the immunity buff. Other monsters that have this Nemesis modifier cannot be given the immunity buff. Okay. So I think it's probably going to work kind of like the Guardian in the lab that like has the aura that has the ability to cause reflect, but it's only over a certain duration. So it seems like it'll fall off after a short duration. Then the enemy will have to reapply it, and it'll get rid of the enemies cannot die. I wonder what that means about totems. Can totems still have that? Or are they getting this benevolent guardian type thing? That'll be interesting to see. Rare monsters. Dominated by Sirius have had their attack, cast speed, and movement speed lowered. Okay, that's fair. They were kind of nuts. But I didn't think that was too bad. That's cool. Zitosh, Hungering Flame, no longer uses his ultimate Molten Strike skill that one-shots people. I guess they just removed that. It's just going to be the giant flame blasts and the summon raging spirits now. That's fine. It's pretty BS, honestly. The Bullthorn skill used by the Lieutenant of Rage in the Labyrinth and the Crusher of Gladiators in the Racehorse map has been visually updated and no longer has damage reflection. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like to play Chaos skills to avoid that. But yeah, I've died to that so many times. Yeah. This is what I was just talking about here with the allies cannot die. These guys. That's huge. The Vaal Pyramid and Arcade map bosses have had their health increased to bring them closer in line with other map bosses. That's fair. Arcade map bosses are nothing. Vaal Pyramid I've still struggled with, but that's fine. It's one of those maps I'll probably only do the bosses if I have to. Okay. I called this. I really did. Zana League mods during 3.14. Zana's map device options are now unlocked as you complete bonus objectives on your Atlas. These are the League mods available during 3.14. Fortune favors the brave, cost 3 chaos. One of these options will be applied at random, including those you have not yet unlocked. Essence costs 2 chaos orbs. Area contains 2 additional essences. This can probably stack with the Hayward Camlet essence stuff, so that would be really useful for farming essences. Breach costs 2 chaos. Areas contain additional breach. I don't see a situation where that's ever worth it, but it's just me. Bloodlines cost 3 additional chaos. Magic monster packs have Bloodlines mod. Areas contain 3 additional magic monster packs. Okay. Ambush costs 3 chaos for 3 additional strong boxes. That's just not bad. Harbinger costs 4 chaos. Areas contain 2 additional Harbingers. Heist costs 6 chaos. Areas contains 2 additional Smuggler's Caches. Aha. Interesting. I like. Okay, Harvest costs 12 Chaos Orbs. Area contains the Sacred Grove. Alright. Almost done. User interface changes. The epilogue section of the world screen, default hotkey U, now contains sections for the Conquerors and Maven quest lines. The Conquerors of the Atlas quest line now has expandable sections in the quest tracker similar to the Maven quest line. I didn't even know there was a Maven quest line thing because I've kept that skill tracker off. Or quest tracker. Attack skill gems no longer display deals X% of base damage as a modifier. This information can now be found near the top of the gem description when hovering over the gem. Okay. A single item can now be unstacked from a stack of items on your cursor by pressing Shift plus left click. A single item can now be unstacked from a stack of items on your cursor. A single item. So I guess it would have to be able to be over somewhere it can be placed. Interesting. Alright, copying an item's description with Control-C now also copies the item class. Okay. Pressing Control-Alt-C now copies the advanced modifier descriptions on an item. Okay. Pressing Control-Click on June, Veiled Master, now brings up the Unveil Items interface. Yes! Like, I've tried to do that so many times, and it opens up the, like, syndicate board. Alright, added a file cache directory UI option, which can be used to change the directory where cache files for the game are stored. Ooh, free up a lot of space on my computer. Okay, interesting. As long as it doesn't impact performance, I'm so doing that. Move the list of item filter UIs option closer to the top of the UI options menu. That's a buff. You can now use exclamation point as a prefix to a term, such as exclamation point unique or sword, exclamation point increased physical damage, to filter results in a search field, such as your stash, to display results that don't contain the specified search term. Okay. So if you put exclamation point unique, it's going to show everything that's not a unique in your stash. Improved the SSF migration warning. Oh, poor Terrence. That was a sad one. Trade website changes. Filters for influenced items can now be found under pseudostat filters on the trade website. For example, hash shaper influence. Okay. That's cool. So you can put that in the like window that you're searching for the mods, I guess. Quest rewards. Exsanguinate is now offered to the Scion for completing the quest Siren's Cadence. And it can be purchased from Nessa by the Marauder, Templar, and Witch. Okay. Corrupting Fever is now offered to the Marauder, Duelist, and Scion for completing Intruders in Black. And can be purchased from Yena by the Templar. Petrified Blood is now offered to the Marauder, Duelist, and Scion for completing Lost in Love. And can be purchased from Clarissa by the Templar. Reap is now offered to the Scion for completing Sever the Right Hand, and can be purchased from Clarissa by the Marauder, Templar, and Witch. Okay. I really thought that was going to be a kind of trickster thing. Bloodthirst support is now offered to the Marauder, Duelist, and Scion for completing a Fixture of Fate, and can be purchased from Clarissa by the Templar. Cruelty support is now offered to the Marauder, Templar, Witch, and Scion for completing Sharp and Cruel, and can be purchased from Yena. Arrogant support is now offered to the Marauder Templar Duelist and Scion for completing a Fixture of Fate and can be purchased from Clarissa. Life tap support is now offered to the Marauder Templar Duelist and Scion for completing the Caged Brute and can be purchased from Nessa. Efficacy support can now be purchased from Nessa by the Marauder after completing the Caged Brute. Still not Ranger though. Okay. Alright, PvP changes. Alright, bug fixes. I'll be nice. Corrupting Fever has an attack time override of 0.5 seconds. Exsanguinate has an attack time override of 2 seconds. Reap has an attack time override of 1.5 seconds. Spark no longer has damage penalty. Split Arrow no longer has a damage bonus. Okay. Bug fixes. Fixed a bug where the Maven's button on the map device needed to be deactivated for certain encounters if the Maven was not interested in the area. These encounters can now be opened without the button needing to be deactivated. Yes. Ziri. That's one of them. That's nice. Fixed a bug where the Maven could sometimes fail to leave the map after the boss encounter has been completed. Cool, that's good. Fixed a bug where cast when damage taken support could sometimes trigger certain skills that were not linked to it. Okay. Cool. Fixed a bug where Infernal Legion support was not being affected by damage over time multipliers. That's a buff. Fixed a bug where it was sometimes possible for non-melee hits from melee skills to grant Fortify. Possible for non-melee hits from melee skills to grant Fortify? Non-melee hits from melee skills. So maybe that's like the aftershock of like Earthquake. Okay, whatever. Fixed a bug with Kinetic Bolt, dealing more damage than intended to enemies at a specific distance. Okay. Fixed a bug where Body Swap could deal less damage than intended when targeting a corpse. Fixed a bug where Zana missions could sometimes offer blighted maps that couldn't be activated. Okay. Fixed a bug where Jorgen's crafting bench removed catalyst quality when upgrading amulets to talismans. Ooh. Ooh. Well, I've never had that happen. That would have sucked. Fixed a bug where Scorching Ray totems did not stack their damage correctly with other Scorching Ray totems. It's a buff. Fixed a bug where X% increased effect of non-damaging elements modifier was applied twice. That's a nerf. Fixed a bug where the Alessia's Delight unique belt wasn't correctly applying the percent more effective non-damaging ailments per affliction charge modifier. That's a... I don't know if that's a buff. It wasn't correctly applying. This might be the same thing. Fixed a bug where monsters and chests in areas have X% chance to drop items with +1 item level was causing more items to drop with +1 item level than intended. Alright. Fixed a bug where the Fan of Blades notable could stop functioning if an affected gem was socketed or unsocketed. Fan of Blades notable. Am I blind? Well, I don't see it. I was gonna go look. Let's see what that was. Oh well. Alright, fixed a bug where the Guardian of the Hydra boss could become invincible during Ritual and the Maven's Crucible encounters. Didn't know that was a thing. Fixed a bug where various additional physical damage reduction modifiers were missing the physical tag. Interesting. Okay, well, that's a buff. Fixed a bug where various chaos damage leeches life modifiers are missing the chaos tag. Also a buff. Fixed a bug where some modifiers on the Gluttony unique belt were missing tags. Okay. Fixed a bug where losing Onslaught that was granted by the Guardian's Radiant Crusade Ascendancy passive could remove Onslaught buffs from other sources. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, that's interesting. Fixed the bug where you could lose the Deadeye's Tailwind buff from the Gathering Winds Ascendancy passive if you gained Tailwind from another source. Okay. Fixed a bug where Plague Bearer couldn't be supported by item rarity. Fixed a bug where Frost Shield was not correctly counting as a chilling area. Interesting. So this is a buff, and can be used with the gloves to increase the gloves from Simulacrum. If you makes enemies in chilled areas take increased lightning damage. That's cool. So that's a buff. Fixed a bug where hovering over blighted maps could incorrectly show the Maven holding a recreation of the map's boss. Oh, okay. I think it's just like removes the purple text from blighted maps at the top, showing that you've killed or captured that boss or whatever with the Maven. Fixed the bug where the Veteran's Awareness Keystone was incorrectly granting chaos resistance. Veteran's Awareness, is that this? No. Not these. That's a cluster jewel notable. The other one I was looking for, Phantom Blades, might be as well. Fix the bug where the Trader Keystone wasn't working correctly while you were under the effect of a flask. Okay. Fixed a bug with the Witch Hunter's Judgment unique staff where Brand Surge could fail to explode your brands if they were supported by totems, traps, or mines. Okay. Fixed a bug with the Mother's Embrace unique belt where minions weren't correctly consuming flask enchantments. Oh, interesting. So this belt lets your minions have your flask effects. It's really strong. I mean, I'm assuming that I'm not too sure what that is. Fixed a bug where the Grave Trap map boss could sometimes spawn coffins after it died. Yes, I've seen that. Definitely have seen that. Fixed a bug where the final betrayal encounter in an area could sometimes fail to occur. Okay, that's good. Fixed a bug where the alert level increases every 10 seconds heist modifier wasn't working correctly. I still don't know why people would ever run their heists with mods on them. Fixed a bug where the Exalted Holy Relic microtransaction had a slightly longer cooldown than intended on its Nova skill. Okay. Fixed the bug where the alternate quality effect of the Phantasmal Unearthed gem wasn't working correctly. Okay. Fixed the bug where the alternate quality effect of the phantasmal cremation gem wasn't correctly counting corpses exploded by it as being consumed. Fixed a visual bugs. Visual bug where the alternate quality description wasn't showing for the anomalous detonate dead gem. Okay, fixed a visual bug where the alternate quality description wasn't showing for the anomalous flame blast gem. Fix a visual bug where applying a remnant of corruption to monsters trapped in essences sometimes wouldn't show the corrupted status if you had the controlled corruption atlas passive node allocated. Yeah, I've seen that. I've always thought that was strange. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that's fixed. Fix the visual bug where the Solar's throne decoration had lost its shine. Ooh. Fix the visual bug where the sand pile decoration wouldn't appear correctly when placed in the all-at-sea hideout. Fixed a visual bug where the crucible portal effect wouldn't appear correctly in the all-at-sea hideout. Fixed a visual bug where the huntsman hypnotic toad pet wasn't glowing correctly. Hey, I have that pet jumping around my nebula. Maybe he'll have more glow. Fixed a visual bug that could occur when using the assassin weapon effect with the misery weapon on its scepter. That's very specific. Fixed a visual bug that could occur when using Vaal Double Strike with the Glimmerwood Shield microtransaction. Alright, we really hope you enjoy Path of Exile Ultimatum. Thanks for your support. Now, let's refresh, which I should have just done. Nothing added there. It was a long read, let me tell you. Recent updates. Vaal skill gems can now only be obtained from a set of specific methods such as corrupting gems, Vaal side areas, divination cards. Okay, so they added corrupting gems, so you can Vaal a gem and get a Vaal gem now. Like, they didn't clarify that. That's all that's been added. Okay, well, that is that. If you stuck around through all this, congratulations, you're a trooper, because that was a lot. I definitely learned some things that I wouldn't have learned had I not read through all of it, so I hope you did as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See more from me. There'll be more in the future, and I'll see you later. Ultimatum, it's coming!